I want to take a little bit of a different tack here, which is if you were to speak to a room full of leaders and potential leaders, the next generation of leaders, what would you tell them to go and start doing today? What's like the thing you would get deeper knowledge about? What's the thing you would invest your time in? If you were starting today as a leader in this space, where would you put yourself? And this is open to anyone.
I would say don't be afraid to have conversations. I think encourage those authentic conversations in your workplace every day. I think, again, people are bringing their whole selves to work, and you have to think about that so comprehensively. I would also think about talking to your employees about what's happening in the world. People want to hear from you. Our CEO is talking directly to our people all the time now, and I came into this job July 1st of last year. The year has turned out very differently than I would have expected, with just diversity and inclusion being the top of people's minds, and probably, unfortunately, for the wrong reasons. But our employees want to hear for ourselves, and our CEO has been on the founding committee for the CEO Action Committee for Diversity and Inclusion. So we're really proud of that, but that's one of the things they're really grappling with. How do you talk to your employees on a basis that's appropriate, a volume that's appropriate, and also to make sure they understand there's a welcoming place within the four walls of your workplace.
Thank you.
I think for me,
Lesley.
I would say that I like to tell millennials, Gen Zers, to first and foremost find companies that fit your culture. Because what I would tell you next is, and I say this to my daughter, is to do you, to be you. And so you need to be able to go into a culture that allows you to bring all of who you are. That company benefits from it from an innovation standpoint, from a creative standpoint, and you benefit from it from the place of being able to really flourish and to bring your ideas to the table. We too do a lot around courageous conversations. I do think you need to have the place where you're having open conversation. And I know I wouldn't fit in where I could not voice my opinion, my thoughts. But more importantly, there are some places where, and we're going through this now at HP, and that is that we're looking at that growth mindset, and the growth mindset ultimately leads to inclusion and an inclusive leadership style that allows you to fully be who you are, bring who you are to the table, and as a male, it allows you to be an ally without guilt, without regret, with true accountability. And as a woman, it allows you to really just kind of come in and flourish. You have the opportunity to develop and be promoted.
You mentioned the growth mindset. That's Carol Dweck, right?
It's Carol Dweck. We're working with the Neurological Leaders Institute and David Rock there too as well.
Gotcha. Just
Yeah, I would say make a commitment to empower and enable yourself to understand, first of all, that we're hardwired to see difference in all the ways it shows up as a threat. And at the same time, we have reams and reams and reams of research that show embracing difference drives innovation, high productivity, high performance, and greater outcomes. And so when people universally say, I want all of those upside opportunities, but I'm limited in my ability to get them because of this threat and fear and overcoming that. Understand that dynamic and then commit yourself to actually personally and leading from a point of advocacy to be a change agent in your own personal life and in your organizational life to overcome that fear and achieve those outcomes. That's the journey, that's the challenge that we're in. And so I think if people understand that is the dynamic in the beginning and all the ways it shows up, can personally commit to overcoming that on a personal basis and then advocating in their organizational world, that's where I would start.
thank you.
Right, and I think for a young person starting out in the business on their way, the journey of gender parity in the workplace, I think everybody's touched on it on this panel, is certainly providing that safe place for people to come and talk about what it means to them to be in an organization as a woman, as a man, as a Latina, etc. What we did, and I'm going to plug it again, I'm going to plug the Gender Leadership Group in Dale. We came into my organization and had that workshop with leaders, and it really changed their perception of the workplace. It gave them and us all as an organization, as a team, the language in which to call out man interrupting, mansplaining for ourselves, for our colleagues, in meetings, subordinates, etc. It really changed the culture, and it gave us that identity. And we started from the top, and we brought it all the way down throughout the organization. And it really has helped us improve our diversity in general. It started with gender partnership, but in those discussions, Del asks one question, and it's, name a time when you felt invisible or treated differently for whatever reason. Remember, this was a gender partnership. Every diversity topic came up in that setting, and everybody felt endeared towards each other. There was a certain level of respect, and it was because we provided that safe place to then, like I said, design and roll out initiatives to really improve our workplace.
Thank you. I have like 2-3 minutes left, so I want to take a few questions. Here in the front.
So, a question for Mike.
Yes.
I guess you saw this coming. So, I'm coming from an assumption that you're not part of those legally protected characteristics. You're just a plain middle class, middle-aged white guy. Is that correct?
Certainly not playing.
I didn't see that coming, but now that, yes, and I'm an openly gay man in the firm.